Alright, so this video we're going to be going ahead and putting on our Trex Plus over the tire tracks on today. We got the skid over here to the property, got the tracks over here. Yesterday we moved all this stuff over here. I figured it'd be easier to do it here. I wasn't able to do this at home in the driveway because once these guys are on, driving over the asphalt is very iffy on whether you're going to tear it up or not. I mean, going straight you might be okay, but if you make a turn at all, you know, it could definitely tear up the asphalt. The other thing is I have aluminum ramps for my trailer, and I did not want to risk driving these things up those. They may be okay because they have sort of some horizontal grips on the ramps, but metal to metal like that might just want to slide. So we could go ahead and test it out another time, but for now I just want to get it over here and do everything over here. Right in the dirt. So we're just going to go ahead and lay these tracks out, get the 2 sections. So it comes in 4 sections just for shipping, and so you can move them around a little easier. So we'll lay out all the tracks, bolt the 2 sections together, lay them in front of the tires, and then drive over them, and we'll start hooking these things up. So first thing we got to do is at least get these 2 sections together. Just line these up, and they're pretty heavy, so it takes a little bit of elbow grease to get everything in position here. But there's 2 sets of holes, and that'll come in later when we need to start adjusting things. But I do have an impact here. It looks like we're going to need it. Those are really on there. Yeah, they definitely have those on tight, so trying not to lose all these in the dirt here. Well, I was wrestling with that for a while. Looked a little easier in the instruction manual than that. So What I'm running into is basically trying to get both tracks set up at the same time. You know, either one of these straps were falling off or the track was stuck on the back here. So you really just have to do it in proper order. If you pull too far forward, you can't pull the track. Okay, we got one track successfully on. I actually had to fight it a little bit with the ratchet strap, but I ended up adjusting 4 or 5 of the links, and I got about an inch of play, maybe a little more, but I'm definitely on the tighter side of the allowable sag in the track. So I think it's anywhere from about 1 to 3 inches. I'd rather be a little tighter because I'm sure once I drive forward, you know, the tires alone are going to adjust. I'll probably get a little bit more sag out of it, and then obviously as things wear, there's going to be more play. So, you know, maybe by this time next year I'll have to put one more link in it, and but we'll see. You know, we'll just see how they act and if they slip at all. And other than that, it wasn't too bad. I did have to fight it quite a bit, but the beautiful thing is, you know, from this point on, I don't need to adjust anything besides, like I said, maybe if there's a bunch of wear in it, maybe one more link, but I won't have to go through all these steps again. So it'll basically just be lay the tracks out, drive over them, flip them up, throw the strap on it, tighten them up, throw the bolts in, and you're done. I don't have to keep constantly taking them on and off and adjusting. So like I said, it went pretty smooth. So now I'm just going to go over on the other side and basically just count the amount of links that I change on this side, do the same thing over there, and it should go right together quick, and then we'll start playing around with this thing and see how good they work. All right, we got it all set up. Both tracks are on and adjusted correctly. So the only thing left to do at this point is play around a bit and see how these things work. These tracks have been absolutely amazing. I got them for a couple $1,000s new. I did also need wheel spacers for this machine, so those alone were about $500, but they had a package deal right on their website for this exact machine, for the tracks and the spacers. As soon as I put them on, I was amazed by them. It was really muddy around this property. It was basically in the beginning of spring where we are now, a year later. There was a foot of water, standing water, over in the pond area, I call it, where every year it just kind of pools up. And I was working up at the front of the road, and I was just sinking in, and I could not believe how well these things did. I mean, without them, no doubt I wouldn't even made it across the field, let alone be able to work with them and actually move things around. So I mean, it did get to a point where it was just so muddy that, I mean, even a normal track machine would have gotten stuck. But I was amazed. I mean, it was night and day difference. So I've been using them the past year all around this property. They've worked amazing. Like I said, I really can't say enough about them. So these ones, they definitely need to be adjusted a little bit and tightened up, but that's kind of normal. So they were really tight when I originally installed them, and obviously they're just done a little bit of stretching and wearing in. So I'm actually going to go ahead and just tighten them up. You really want a specific amount of clearance that they talk about I think 1 to 2 inches or so of play. So I'm going to go ahead, adjust them up, and I really, like I said, I can't say enough about these things. I would not be able to do anything on this property without these. So I really like, I kind of questioned when I first got them that if you sort of look at how these are, they're rounded and smooth, if you will. So I sort of thought, man, are these just going to really like slip around? And they don't. I mean, they compact right into the mud or the dirt, and they grip like crazy. I do have some amount of wheel spin, and that, what I've noticed by using these all the time, is that if it is really wet, or even just, you know, if it's heavy rain and you got that right amount of type of slippery mud that's starting to form right when the rain first starts falling, the wheels will slip. They won't slip just driving straight or even maneuvering and using the bucket and digging, but I did notice if I'm like on an incline or something like that, they will sort of slip. I did kind of get myself into a position where I went down into the embankment and I couldn't back up. So the wheels were just slipping. I was able to sort of use, I had this attachment, I was able to push myself out, but that is something to be aware of.
I would imagine that brand new tires, these ones are actually really decent shape, but brand new tires and tighter adjusted tracks will definitely make up for them slipping. So as long as they're adjusted right, you have decent tread on your tires, they're going to work. And I have heard about these things sort of destroying tires, and I didn't know what to how that would play out on these, but really I don't notice any additional wear. I mean, I think it's just because these are made smooth, and that's probably the trade-off, is that, you know, if these had some sort of grip to them, it would do some damage to the tire, but maybe you wouldn't get as much wheel spin. But I would prefer to be able to not destroy these tires, because that would kind of cost a lot more, having to replace tires more often. But yeah, I mean, this is it. Like I said, year later, absolutely love them. Would buy them again if I had to. I actually went on their website. I had an issue where I did, well, I guess that's one thing I should mention, is I did have a rock get flop into these tracks. It's actually happened multiple times. I mean, smaller rocks are okay. It'll actually push in the tire enough. That tire can take a lot of abuse. I've had a few rocks get in there, come all the way around before I noticed, drop back down, and, you know, the tire was really pushing in, but didn't pop the tire, didn't pop off the rim. These can handle a lot of abuse, but if you do get a large rock in there, you could potentially do some damage. They do make this profile really high, probably to keep that from happening as much as possible, but rocks do tend to fall in there. So you do have to be careful when you're side swiping a pile of stone or a pile of dirt or something like that. Dirt is no problem, because it'll fall in there and fall right through the tracks. But if there's a big rock that rolls in there, which was what happened to me, I had actually a piece of concrete chunk get stuck in there from some fill dirt that was dropped off for our driveway. So I actually had to, it was so jammed in there, I had to actually cut one of the bolts off and disconnect the track that way. I didn't want to reverse or forward and risk damaging something further. So cut one of the bolts off, got the track separated, got the rock out of there, no problem. So I went ahead and purchased just a spare one of these paddles. I purchased some hardware just to have on hand in case that happened. So other than that, that's pretty much it. If you guys got any other questions about them, or I'll probably do another review another year from now and see if I still feel the same way. But for now, definitely love them, and highly recommend. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to us if you haven't already. Lots of cool videos on machinery, site work. We're building a house. So yeah, stay tuned, and we'll see you guys on the next one.